This episode marks the inaugural piece of video content for my firm, and I thought I'd do an episode detailing some aspects of myself, how I got here, and what I do now. First and foremost, I'm a proud son of Jamaican-born parents who migrated to the U.S. in the 70s. I have an amazing brother, only one sibling. I love God. He's been too good. I grew up in Miami and South Florida with a love for people, culture, and of course, the arts in so many different aspects. Whether it was singing, playing drums, listening to all types of music, or even becoming fascinated with TV and film, I was often immersed in all things creative, as many of us were. But then the light went off in my head. What does all this even come from? Where does it come from? How was this put together for the enjoyment of the masses? Quickly dating myself, but I remember these things called audio cassettes. And even before vinyl made its resurgence some time ago, I remember being enamored by the amount of detail I would find on the sleeve of the record or the booklet of the cassette. In essence, that's probably where the curiosity and the interest struck a chord, if I can use that pun. The story goes on. Well, it's time to grow up, so to speak. College brought on some serious nervousness, if I'm being honest. By this point, 16 going on 17, I firmly knew I wanted to be in the music business. Also at this point, at the drop of a hat, I could tell you about albums recorded at various recording studios across the country, such as Record Plant, Battery, and of course, two major ones in my own backyard, Hit Factory, Criteria, and Circle House. Now begs the question of what to do with this desire and interest. As I'm telling you this, there may be some people out there that don't see a perfectly carved out road for their passion, and I hope to God you receive this. You are not alone. High school is coming to an end and it's decision time. What that looked like for me was being told about a school in downtown Chicago that seemed to be in sync with where I wanted to be professionally. Before I got there, I went to an amazing school, Florida A&M University, that I'll never forget. Go Rattlers. I had some big brothers at FAMU and FSU that took great care of me. But alas, my heart was being pulled in another direction. In those 2.5 years at Columbia College, Chicago, I made amazing friends who I know to this day. They're heavy hitters in the music business and in the entertainment business broadly. I interned and later worked at a television production company, Central City, that owns the Stellar Gospel Music Awards. I also interned at what is now known as RCA Records and RCA Inspiration. Shout out to Jimmy Manus. What up, man? And to wrap up this segment and to set up the next, I met a renowned music producer, songwriter, recording artist that was instrumental in my professional development. The one and only Donald Lawrence. Quick story, I don't even think I told him this. How did I find out he was teaching a course at my college? I literally read about it in a trade magazine where he was doing an interview. In the interview, he mentions teaching at a college and developing a unique course. I was like, huh? What did I do next? I literally went to my department's office and spoke to the head of the department and said, hey, and I began pointing at the magazine article. Is this happening for real? He said, yes. Then I said, yeah, I need to be up in that class, sir. And as you can imagine, I was there. I've graduated. Now what? Some close to me already know that with no immediate prospects, I booked a one-way ticket to Florida to hang out a bit, see family, decompress, etc. I was unsure of what the next steps would be, so why not use that time to go home, to reset? Well, that didn't last terribly long. I got a call from Donald, who was setting up an office in Chicago after largely being in Charlotte, I believe, previously. After telling me about his plans and how he wanted me to be a part, I don't remember how I replied, but shortly thereafter, I was on a plane back to Chicago. This led to not just fast and furious on-the-job training at 21, but also the honor of working on several projects that went on to be nominated or win multiple Grammy and Stellar Gospel Music Awards. This included one of the greatest and most influential groups of all time, the Clark Sisters. No biggie. So after years in this training ground of studios, tour buses, label and publishing offices, etc., what's next? Well, after being immersed daily in legal agreements of many kinds, not to mention conversations with lawyers and the like, One of them, who you may know from the This Business of Music book series, John M. Gross, suggested law school. Now, there was an in-between time, both before law school and most certainly after law school, when I questioned deeply everything I had done at that point and whether I should have even done it. Frankly, there was times where I was extremely down and out on myself. I'm often told about my positive and calm demeanor, or even my ability to encourage. Let me assure you, getting here, and I'm still moving, but getting here has been a struggle. Now back to pre-law school and going through law school. This was essentially the hardest thing that I've ever done. I didn't grow up with a gavel in my hand with an expectation to do any of this. But I guess that's how God works sometimes. So after being raised in Florida, starting college there, I lived and worked in Illinois, then interned in New York, and then I lived in California working for an attorney before moving to Michigan for law school. Law school brought many valued aspects of my life, including friends, experiences, and a new way of thinking and analyzing. Imagine going to a new country with a new language and a way of thinking, and then being there with the expectation that you now use this new language and articulate your understanding, be it orally, through organized verbal arguments in court or a court-like setting, or in writing in the form of briefs, contracts, motions, and not to mention those essays you need to pass the classes and ultimately the bar exam. Law school was capped off with an incredible experience being a legal intern at Sony Music Publishing in Santa Monica, California. At that time, the second largest music publisher in the world. Quick story. How did I even get that opportunity? How did I, at a relatively unknown law school, shout out to Cooley, in the Midwest, end up interning hundreds of miles away in the mecca of the music business? Tenacity. Given that I had the hopes of working in California after law school, I sought out opportunities and people I could tap into in the state. So here I was, back in the trade magazines and the pamphlets, this time the variety that has the lawyers in it and the entertainment business folks. There was a senior director at Sony that attended one of the conferences that I went to, but I never got a chance to meet her. But after further research, I thought she'd be an amazing mentor. So what did I do? I cold called, emailed her office, giving her my interest in the position. Long story short, I spent a semester being the only legal intern for the legal department that was covering the company's interest in digital. Like my prior time working in college, it provided me with an incredible experience and placed me with someone that I knew the business in and out. So you'd think surely everything was going to line up ever so nicely. It didn't. I didn't pass the bar exam right out of law school. Finding work in my area, given my experience in education, was very challenging. Did I want to quit? Yeah, at least mentally, most certainly. Cried? Yep, plenty. Failed relationships? Yeah, several, but I pressed through. So here we are. What's a Decanus anyway? Or a Decanus? The favorite I've heard so far is Decanus. However you choose to pronounce it, I'll leave that up to you. Essentially, it's my name, Dean in Latin. After researching it some years ago, I found out that it has both military and religious connections. The role of the Decanus being both a team lead militarily in one context, and in a religious context, they were leaders over monks. If you didn't know, although you probably do, early church structure influenced how educational institutions formed their leadership. Hence why there are deans at colleges, universities, similar types of institutions. So now you know where all that comes from and my unorthodox law firm name. The desire behind it is simply to counsel, lead, and to execute on your behalf. And I look forward to doing just that. Now, moving forward, please do look out for more content covering the law, business, the entertainment business, and other topics, either here on YouTube, the firm's website, or over on IG, Reels, places like that. Be well. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again.